Good morning, good afternoon and good evening from wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to the first NextGen Cup Paddock Walk. Today I'm here with a very special man with whom we wouldn't be here.
Thank you. My name is Fredrik Lestrup, so the founder of NextGen Cup, and it's a big day for us today, Dan.
Yeah.
So our first Paddock Walk, so this is our way of giving you an insight of the NextGen Cup, the races, the drivers, the activities we do, and to explain all sorts of difficult technical questions, accidents, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're happy to be here. It's a big day for us. We've just done basically half the day, the first day of our first test day, and it's been a long process for us to build all the 20 race cars for the season. We have them all here lined up behind us. How do you like it? Does it look good?
It looks amazing. I was a bit worried at first that all cars were going to be in NextGen Cup blue, and it was going to be a bit difficult for me to pick them out in the broadcast, but luckily you've saved me with some beautiful liveries.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. We have some great sponsors on board. The plan is that each car will have a different sponsor, a different brand, so they will be very well presented and it looks awesome. So let's have a walk, shall we? And see what we can find, what people, what activities.
Yeah, let's go.
So, I mean, first of all, we have our really nice safety car. This is called the Mini Pacesetter. It was built for Formula E, actually. So Mini built this, and it's been traveling all around the world, and it's the actual safety car from 2021 season of Formula E. So we're happy to have it here, and this will lead the way when there's an accident or something on track at all our races. So it's really nice.
I mean, when we got here on Tuesday, I saw the car on the trailer, and I was like, I recognize that from something. And then my mind immediately switched back to that 2021 season when it debuted in Formula 1.
Exactly.
Or Formula E, excuse me.
E. So one day we will put you in it.
Yeah.
Not in the driver's seat, obviously, because we need it for the season. So if you want to drive it, maybe after the season.
Maybe.
So let's have a walk. So we are at Gelleråsen Arena. This is one of our best racetracks in Sweden. There's a former race driver, Rickard Jönsson, running the track, and it's pristine. It's well painted and it looks good. Yeah. It's a short track, 2.3 kilometers, with twisty corners and some high-speed corners. So it's a good place to showcase our cars for the first time.
Something that I found when I did the track walk, when I was here first, of course, this morning with all the drivers, was that the corners are pretty banked, which I didn't really expect from up in the booth where I was normally. You don't really see it, but once you get onto the track and once you're actually there, then you kind of realize how much is actually banked in a corner. So
exactly. I mean, it's actually, I think Formula 3, Formula 1 has been here. I'm asking our press officer behind us. So it's a Formula 1 track, we can say that. It's not 4,000 meters or something, but still, it's an old Formula 1 track. It's really exciting. So it's good for the drivers.
Yeah,
but yes, you're correct. A lot of banking, which increases the grip and so on. So let's see if we can find someone to attack.
I mean,
we have Alexander, one of our drivers. Yeah. Let's see if he has something to say about his first impressions. How are you feeling after your first drive in the race car?
Very good. I mean, I don't have any references from earlier racing. I just done some cross car in the rallycross category. So, I mean, the first taste of this was just mind-blowing. I mean, I have never driven anything like this before. So, yeah, I'm very happy about it. So, and it all went good. So I'm very happy.
That's good. We're happy to have you here. Yeah. So you have an engineer assigned to you to help you with your driving. Have you found any specific points in the driving you need to improve?
Yeah, I mean, we have worked with some basic stuff. I mean, just finding some tenths there or there. So, yeah, some basic to know the car and get the feeling. So, yeah, not so advanced. So just some basic stuff.
Okay, that's good. We're happy that you're improving. Yeah. So,
I mean, what was the thing that you had to get used to most? Of course, these cars are based on touring cars. So, of course, front-wheel drive, is that something that you had to get used to?
Yeah, I mean, I have driven a lot of home with front-wheel driven. So, the thing to get used to mostly is that you need to brake so late. What I'm used to, I mean, I brake up into 170 kilometers in drift, so this is not my type of driving, but I'm getting used to it, so it will come.
Yeah. In terms of setup, if I'm correct, you can adjust the rear pressures, the dampers, and the brake balance. Is there something you've done with that with your first two sessions?
No, actually, I haven't changed anything yet. So I'm just trying to get the knowledge of the car firstly. Then we can maybe do some setup changes. We'll see.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. So, I mean, Alexander is coming from cross kart,
Yeah.
so gravel and four-wheel drive. So it's a big change for him. So
Yeah.
it's important for us to help him understand how he can perform in a front-wheel driven car.
Yeah.
So at the moment, what we are doing, we are charging the cars. The drivers, some of them are having a lunch break in a nice cafeteria, and we are charging them with our fantastic ABB DC wallbox chargers.
Yeah.
We are charging them with 20 kilowatts at the moment. It's a nice way to charge them without stressing the battery. And
goes up to 30, if I'm correct.
22 is
22,
maximum
okay.
that the charger can handle. Yeah, yeah. And actually here today we are charging all cars at the same time, and we've made an effort to connect to the power grid. So we
Yeah.
are directly connected to the power grid, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's our first test day, our first time doing this. We have no issues so far, so happy
No.
about that.
No, I talked to the guys from QEV, who of course done a lot in terms of the electrical side of the car, which in an electrical race series is a lot. So, and they were very happy with how the cars have run so far. Some small issues, but I mean, that's something that we know is going to happen with a first time out. There are 15 cars here, and I think no one expected them to run as well as they have done.
Yeah, I mean, we are happy, they are happy. It's I wouldn't say above our expectations, because we've planned to be here with working cars, but
Yeah.
they are working, and this is a key thing, so we've done a good job.
Yeah.
Shall we find some more interesting drivers?
Yeah, for sure.
See if they
Let's
have
see.
something nice to say. We have Martin, one of our photographers here, and I mean, I can see on the top of we have a leaderboard at this track. It's number 11. Obviously, that's Ellis Spezia
Yes.
from America. I can see him walking around, checking brake balance
inspecting.
levels in the other cars, and let's see if we
There he
can get
is.
some insights.
Ellis,
Guys.
we talked earlier on. First question I have for Ellis is an interesting one. What's the humidity of the grass?
I mean, as you know, it started about 52 this morning, but sun beating down a bit. It's probably closer to like 56 now, so times might get quicker, but we'll just have to see if it transfers over to the pavement. So it's just a game of, you know, when we get out there, finding the limits as soon as we can.
Of course, you've been working with electric stuff for so long now. Working with NextGen Cup, how do you find that?
It's really great. I mean, you know, the setup that they have with the car is clearly very refined. The fact that we all went out there today and had no problems whatsoever. Everyone had a super clean session going forward. And it's good to have a car that is a great base to work from, and that I can just gradually push the limits more and more, work with the setup, and see where we can get today by the time the last session comes around.
I asked you a few questions earlier, and I mean, you've driven quite a lot of electric go-karts and race cars, and how do you compare this car with all the other cars you've driven? Not just obviously front-wheel drive, but in general.
I think, you know, obviously this is the first electric touring car that I've driven, so on paper it's the heaviest, but I think it deals with the weight the best. The weight is its struggle in the karting as well. You know, go-karts are typically very nimble and light. The Formula car is much lighter, but I think the setup that they have with the suspension package and the way, you know, the baseline geometry is, I think that it's just really good at handling all the extra weight that it's got to carry, whether it's over the curbs, whether it's over the bumps here. There's quite a few of them, so it's definitely a bit different than a normal, you know, combustion car like the Ford Fiesta I've driven. But I think other than just adapting my driving style a bit, there's nothing that's too out of the ordinary.
Yeah. So we can see you're quickest so far. I mean, we're halfway into our first day of testing. Obviously, we have engineers helping you compare data with other drivers, but you're the quickest. And the data is now being used for everyone else to learn what you have done to become quicker. How do you find a way to find more speed in your lap time?
Obviously, working with the car setup now, I feel I'm comfortable with the way the track is. So now that we know where I'm struggling, I know Sector 2 is a bit of a struggle for me, but then the third sector is really strong. But I think, you know, data is an amazing tool for drivers, but there's always just those little things that differ from person to person, that I could be braking 5 meters earlier into the first corner and it's quicker, but someone else, they got to really brake super late to get the same speed. So I think it's awesome that the data is shared. It lets everything get super close by the time qualifying and the races are going to come around. So I'm all for it. You know, every driver has to find their own way to get that speed. But for the drivers that maybe are struggling a little bit, to have that sort of open source data from the quickest guys, I think is super important to help them get up to speed as well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we have to learn from each other.
Exactly.
Maybe he struggles in sector 2 because you have the banked corners that you were talking about.
And that grass humidity is it's really tough there. So.
Yeah.
So let's see if we find any mechanics or someone that's actually doing some hard work, not just driving, looking cool.
Ready for it now.
So here we have an interesting guy actually. Emil, can I steal you for a few seconds? So this is Emil from Hancock. And Emil, I mean, you've been along for this trip since we started, I think 2 years ago. Yeah. And you quickly jumped on board, supplying us with these fantastic tires. And what are your impressions today, our first test day?
It's amazing just to see all the cars out on the track. So far the feedback from all the drivers has been spot on. We've actually got the product that works extremely well. And it's just amazing to see all these guys and girls out here and just feel the atmosphere. We're heading into something new.
Yeah, we're doing it together and we're really happy about that. So
for sure.
Thank you very much. I mean, I don't know how much you know about tires, but if you have questions, this is the guy.
Yeah, I mean, when I studied automotive back at uni, I learned a lot about tires, about the structure of the tire, of course, these semi-slicks. What's the structural difference compared to a slick?
Well, it's a totally different tire. This one is purpose-built for the Mini. It's a OE-fitted tire for the John Cooper Works Mini. To actually, one single purpose was to beat the lap record for the Nürburgring. So this tire was developed for the car, and then we started testing with different tires with Fredrik and the team, and this was the one that actually got the overall performance and the durability. So we're down to a decent level of tire degradation and as well the wear, so we can use new tires for front for each race, but also using it in wet and in dry conditions, and it works all over. In really good performance. So you get down the use of tires for the whole sustainability question. So that one is a big difference compared to a slick race tire. It's totally different build-up, but it's working really well, and it's handling the heat and the pressure for this one as well.
I think we will grab some of the engineers. They can also tell us a bit more. And for Hancock, this is obviously more than just supplying us with the tires. So we will activate a lot of your dealers and customers on the race weekends. You also have a very nice branded Hancock race car in the championship. Thank you for joining, thank you so far. Yeah. So this is Elias' car, the one we had to tow from the gravel trap. The Varta car, so a battery manufacturer. We're really happy to have them on board, supporting us and the category. And it's looking good. So behind us we have one of the QEV guys, and here's Albert. Albert is Spanish from QEV, the company who built the battery for us and helped us with the drivetrain. They're checking all parameters, and we will always have them with us on the race weekends to make sure we are on top of everything.
Yeah. I mean, these guys have been very important in the development of the software too, because it's not only the battery that's important, it's the software of the car, all the safety features, which are very important. Of course, the lights, which we'll get into a bit later, that are very important for the drivers to know what's going on with the car, also for the mechanics and everyone around the track really to know if the car is safe to touch or not.
Exactly, and this is a key thing. And FIA, the highest motorsport governing body, has set up a regulation regulating this, and we are following this 100% together with QEV. So it's working well, and we're happy about that. So another interesting feature, so when we are driving, the battery is building temperature, the motor is building temperature, and we can drive with the battery up to 55, 56 degrees of cell temperature. But when we are charging, we're also increasing the temperature. So after the sessions, we are using something we call a chiller. So we connect these two pipes and create a closed circuit where we are flushing cooled liquid through the battery, basically, to cool it down.
For the people at home, it's not water that is running through this, because I'm pretty sure that would freeze if you would put these temperatures on it.
Exactly, and this is actually a dielectric fluid, as it's called. So for the regulations, we have to have a specific fluid just for the battery. That's not really easy to find, this fluid, but obviously we found enough for all of our 20 cars, so we're happy about that. We can look at the charger, I think, now that we're talking. And I mean, surprisingly, we end up at the
what a coincidence.
By the ABB car. So ABB is, of course, ABB e-mobility, I must say. they are a very important partner for us in this championship, and they are also actually the first company and partner to join us.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with Eva, who is the boss of e-mobility, and they immediately saw the electrification of the championship, the car industry in general, and of course all the soft values with the young drivers and the way they can help from a sustainable point of view.
Yeah, I mean, they provide all the chargers for the cars. So,
Exactly.
I mean, what more would you want? Without them, we couldn't charge the cars.
No,
so
exactly.
There wouldn't be no series.
So the car is looking good, and at the test day, this is Enzo Hallman's car.
Yeah.
So Enzo is coming from karting.
Also had an off in the last corner.
Exactly, he was out testing, but he managed to get up again on the track. So we've talked to Alexander coming from cross kart, we've talked to Elias coming from Formula cars, and Enzo has been in the top of go-karting in Sweden. So I'm really happy to have drivers from a lot of different categories coming and driving here. So let's finally get to the chargers that we keep talking about. So here we have the ABB DC wall box, as it's called. Our roll cage supplier, KBT Safety, helped us build these fantastic wagons. So we have 2 chargers per wagon, and they are obviously charging 1 car each. Yeah. As I said earlier, so 20 kilowatts of power when we are charging. If we run the cars down to 10%, which we normally do during a session, it's about 1 hour and 40 minutes to charge them to full again. Yeah. And during a race weekend, we have more than enough time between the sessions to do this and to chill the cars.
Yeah. Race weekend structure for the people at home usually is first on the Saturday we have a 20-minute practice session, then we go into a 20-minute qualifying session that concludes day 1. Then we'll get into day 2, which will have 2 20-minute races, which is a great prospect to look forward to. Falkenberg, can't wait. First corner, see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, and we think it's a good thing to have 2-day events. A lot of time to also analyze the data and help the drivers between the sessions, and then obviously race day with 2 races and hopefully a lot of action. So I just wanted to show you as well, we can walk through one of these pit boxes here.
Yeah.
So this is one of our I would say, the LRT, so the NextGen Cup boxes. We have all the special tools we need if we need to repair a car, setup tables if we need to do a setup or change something. We have Helios from QEV doing all sorts of random stuff.
Yeah. I'm now actually doing an upgrade in the dash for the finish start line.
Yeah, and that's my fault. Yeah, because that's my fault. Because we have a GPS point set in the dash, and there's a GPS antenna, and it detects where you are on track, and it gives you a lap time basically.
Yeah. Only in 5 cars. Now in 15.
That's good. So yeah, it was missing in some of the cars, and obviously we have our colleagues here supporting us, and yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you. Welcome.
So, like I said, so this is pretty interesting. So
the most important stuff.
This is very important. So one of the first questions I always get is, how are you going to charge the cars? There can't be enough power on the tracks. And as you saw outside, we have 15 cars being charged simultaneously at the same time. So here at Gelleråsen, they have a pretty good power supply actually into the racetrack. So we rented the track, we're completely alone here. It's only NextGen Cup here. So we've actually managed to connect these massive cables straight to the power grid.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting, if I'm honest. It's a heavy cable. We have 2 of them going straight to a transformatorstation, as we call it in Swedish.
The transformer.
Exactly.
For people that speak English.
And then we have this distribution box. It's supplied from one of our partners, from Byggström, a Swedish company. And as you can see in here, we have a lot of different connections available to connect each charger. Yeah. So one of these cables each go to a charger. And this was obviously something we hadn't had a chance to test, because we've not been with all 15 cars at a racetrack yet. And it's also just working.
Yeah. So. Well, for the people who don't know how difficult it is to charge 15 cars at the same time, some people have difficulties at home just charging their normal electric car, and that's 1 car. So to put 15 cars on the grid, you need some pretty good logistics for that. Yeah. And we got it here.
Exactly, and it's working. So on the race weekend, it will be a little bit different, because we are not alone on the race weekends. There's a lot of other activities and caterings and so on. So we will use power banks, but this is another story we can take when we get there, and yeah. So yeah, this is our first paddock walk. I think we end where everything starts, with the power going into the batteries. So yeah, it was nice to give you everyone an insight from the first day of testing. Did you learn something during this walk?
Yeah, of course, we learned about the guys from QEV, which are so important. We learned about the batteries. Go back and have a look about everything we learned. Write it down, because it's going to be important for the rest of the season.
Exactly. And obviously, yeah, thank you for watching. And we are really looking forward to the first race weekend of NextGen Cup in Falkenberg on the 8th and 9th of July. The weather in Sweden is always blue skies and sun, so we're hoping...
I mean, for the first time, I'm seeing clouds in the sky since yesterday when we got here.
So weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're hoping the weather stays, and we hope you join us on the racetrack. If not, you can follow the action and all the insights here and during the paddock walk. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining, and see you soon.